Immigrants cost us money. Here's the data that says they don't. Oh, well, the data's made up. It tells you that you are more receptive to feelings and specifically fear and manipulation than you are to data. And when presented with data, you chose your feelings over the data. You're choosing it right now. You're choosing your emotions right now. I don't believe any of this. My people wouldn't lie. I definitely am not afraid of immigrants. This definitely isn't like racism that I don't recognize. This is a crazy story. Kash Patel was just complaining in front of Congress that because people were writing 8647 all over the internet, which cue the 8647s in the chat, because people were doing that all over the internet, that like the FBI lost all their resources. They had to take their resources who were fighting terrorists and they had to put them on these other cases tracking down the 8647s. Now we've got even more problems with the FBI. If I was an FBI agent who signed up to work for the FBI and I was just getting outsourced to every other agency for the first, how many months are we in? 5 months of the presidency? Probably be pretty sick of my fucking job right now.
More people familiar with the matter are telling me today that guidance went out over the weekend from the FBI's assistant director in charge of counterterrorism that some of these agents, national security specialists who had been tasked with helping out on immigration raids, are now being redeployed back to their old jobs in counterterrorism, counterintelligence, and cyber over concern about potential retaliation from Iran related to the U.S. military strike on Iran. And as you said, this has been an ongoing source of tension within the FBI. Immigration enforcement is not traditionally an FBI function, but the Trump administration has directed FBI agents across the country to help DHS to go out on immigration raids. They've said that in part that's because illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, can be security threats, which is true. But I've been getting a lot of complaints from my FBI sources that this is not what they should be doing, that it's taking away resources from the really important threats.
I think that's the important part. Like, I know that a lot of you Republicans, like, you voted for mass deportations. You may not agree with us that this is cruel and unusual and that it's unwarranted treatment of these people. But the reality is, just like, effectively, this isn't a good use of resources. It's not helping you. It's not benefiting you. It statistically isn't making the country safer. It's not making the country more wealthy. In fact, it's crippling businesses. Just to take resources from the FBI, and they've basically totally eliminated pursuing financial crimes, which are far more likely to affect you. Like, your life is far more affected by cheating corporations than it ever will be of illegal immigration. And so we don't even do financial crimes anymore. We're just taking the FBI off of every case, and we're just running around for Trump's pet projects. And I think like that, we can disagree on ideology all we want, but the reality is this administration, this FBI, they are rarely doing the most effective thing. They are just breaking everything. And that's the theme when you watch congressional testimony. Every fucking department is broken. Every one of them. They don't show up. They're showing up to the finance committee, to the budget committee without a budget. Today they showed up with a PowerPoint presentation, a 26-page PowerPoint presentation. They're supposed to have a budget, which is like generally hundreds of pages, because you have to go, you're saying like, here's where we're going to take all the money Congress you give us and you allocate, here's how we're going to spend it. They're just showing up without budgets and refusing to answer questions. Our government is grinding to a halt. Meanwhile, we're taking all these resources just to fight all of Trump's pet projects. We're doing immigration and we're doing sucking Benjamin Netanyahu's dick, which shouldn't cost that much, but it does for some reason. We could just suck his dick. I think that might be the easier way. Maybe we stop blowing people up and instead just suck his dick. But this administration's use of resources, whether you agree with them or not, it's not working. It's not making anything better. And there's no evidence that it's going to make anything better, especially economically. Virtually every economist in the world says if Trump can accomplish his goals, it will wreck our economy. Jerome Powell is refusing to lower rates because there is so much unknown right now with tariffs. There's so much unknown with trade deals, of which, by the way, we have zero. We're 2 weeks away from having all of these trade deals done, they said in April, and it's fucking June, and it's just about July, and we have zero trade deals. And even if those trade deals wind up being what Trump says they are, it will decimate our economy. This is like the cult of personality stuff that's frustrating. I understand that many of you Trump supporters like what he's doing. Well, I would just advocate maybe pushing him in a direction of doing something that's going to benefit like fucking anybody. I don't know who that. In fact, most of the stuff he's done just benefits like his rich benefactors and people in his cabinet. It was reported yesterday that Stephen Miller has a 6-figure investment in the private prison contractor that is facilitating these ICE deportations. Pam Bondi, obviously, she sold a bunch of her Trump media shares right before the price crashed. You have Donald Trump, obviously, which we're going to get to later with his crypto scams, just making money hand over fist. He's taking time out of his day to meet with donors. He took time out of his day to fly to the Middle East to do, and he took a bunch of business leaders with him. At what point, MAGA, is he going to do something for you? Like, you mean like getting rid of illegal immigrants that are wasting taxpayer dollars? Well, Chick Punk, this is the problem. They're not wasting taxpayer dollars. They're not. They are a net. I looked at this yesterday. I think the cost of illegal immigration is something like $50 billion a year. But the amount of money that they put into the economy in terms of taxes, through sales tax, through city taxes, through if they're renters, that's paying property tax. And then those who have obtained like a Social Security card, even if it's fraudulent, they pay into Social Security and Medicare, and they're never able to take that out. It's about $100 billion. So if you got rid of all the illegal immigrants, you would lose $50 billion. Go see whoever your favorite Republican content creator is, MAGA Republican, whatever you want to call them, content creators. Go find any clip of them or any sort of breakdown of them talking about how much illegal immigration costs us. And what they will do, you will notice this, they will talk about all the stuff that we spend. And then they will say, that's the total number. They never talk about the money that is put back into the back into the government's pockets through taxes. What do you mean you're high, bro? Look it up. Look it up. You want to see? You want to see? This is according to ITEP. Undocumented immigrants paid $96.7 billion in federal, state, and local taxes in 2022. Most of that amount, $59.4 billion, was paid to the federal government, while the remaining $37.3 billion was paid to state and local governments. Go look. All your Republicans are claiming $50 billion is what it costs every year for illegal immigration. Just under $100 billion was paid in. What's 100 minus 50? It's 50. Or if we want to be more accurate, what's 96.7 minus 50? $46.7 billion. It is a net positive. And you guys get mad when you say you're high, bro. It's because nobody on your side ever fucking tells you the whole story. And the nearsightedness, like sometimes I think people in the media lie or leave out the whole story because either the whole story isn't relevant or it doesn't make their point. But in this situation, you guys are advocating for getting rid of people who are a net benefit to our economy. They commit crimes at a lower rate than American citizens, so they are a net benefit when it comes to criminal activity too. But they never tell you that story. They just talk to you about Laken Riley. They talk to you about fentanyl, which 90% of it is brought across the border by American citizens. I'm just wondering, at what point are you guys going to be like not so emotionally driven? It's painfully obvious today, maybe more than any day I can remember in recent history, that these folks just have all of you so afraid of everything that you don't need facts, you don't need figures, you don't need data. Your fear outweighs all of that. I just showed you the data and you still will support that position that actually they cost us money. Why? Because they scared you. And you're not ready to let go of that fear yet. You're not ready yet to let go of that programming. But just look, I'm a data person. That's how I'm on the left. That's how I wound up here. And I'm not saying the left's always right. I'm saying the reason that I've stopped being a Republican and the reason that I wind up more left-leaning is simply data. That's it. There's nothing about any of my positions that are like, oh, well, this is just ideologically driven. Outside of this idea that I think we should treat people humanely and that human beings deserve the same rights and that the government should do what's best for its citizenry, like outside of that, I'm not really that ideologically driven. But you guys are entirely ideologically driven. Data made up by your party. That's the thing. This is exactly it. This is the same conversation I just had with my friend over Facebook for 2 days. It's the same fucking argument with every one of you. Immigrants cost us money. Here's the data that says they don't. Oh, well, the data's made up. What does that tell you? It tells you that you are more receptive to feelings and specifically fear and manipulation than you are to data. And when presented with data, you chose your feelings over the data. You're choosing it right now. You're choosing your emotions right now. I don't believe any of this. My people wouldn't lie. I definitely am not afraid of immigrants. This definitely isn't like racism that I don't recognize. All right, back here.
That after 9/11, the FBI was directed to go after. And now there is some redeployment. And that's, in a sense, an acknowledgement that perhaps this was not the best use of resources. Because after all, there is a threat from Iran now, but there's also been a threat from ISIS. There's been a threat from domestic terrorism. That wasn't enough to cause this redeployment. But the Iran threat is acute enough that they are making these changes.
Then
I do have friends, Josh, and I'd like to be your friend, too. Let's be friends, Josh.
Deal with this 22-year-old Thomas Fugate, who's in charge of the counterterrorism hub at DHS. What's on his resume?
Well, I'm just saying, if you didn't know this was a Republican, and I just put this picture up, and we didn't know any of his philosophies. I put this guy's picture up, and I said, "Do you trust this guy?" No. He looks like a villain. It's straight out of a movie. This big ass dump. I don't know what he's doing with his eyebrow. This is the picture he chose. This is the picture he chose to use. This is a villain in every movie.
This job.
And that is emotionally driven. You got me there, Republicans.
It's unclear, and he has no relevant experience, and he's 22, and that speaks for itself. But what's even more consequential, Katie, is that the Trump administration's budget zeroes out this program. It's a small program. It's $18 million in grants to state and local government designed to prevent violence. And I looked into this and found that, in fact, the people involved in this program believe that it has prevented mass shootings. It's kind of soft skills grant programs. It funds anti-violence teams that go out into the community, mental health, behavioral health teams that sort of train teachers and other professionals on how to respond to people who are in crisis. It's the kind of thing that doesn't make headlines, but it has, they believe, prevented violence, terrorism-related and other kinds of violence. And now the Trump administration is proposing to zero it out as part of a series of, obviously, budget cuts without seeming regard for the impact of the programs.
I think you guys will be surprised at how much money this administration is planning on cutting for law enforcement. For like you guys used to get mad at us so much with defund the police. You're mad at Mom Donnie for talking about defund the police. You guys are defunding the police all over. Go look at Pam Bondi's budget. Go look at where they're cutting. They are going to have far less investigative power in the DOJ than previous administrations. I don't know why. And again, for what? So that billionaires can get a tax break?